All right, let's wait until all signals are go, and then we'll begin. All right, looks like we're good. So, hi everyone, this is Lauren coming at you from the break zone with another episode of the Final Fantasy Trading Card Game News. So this is what, Opus VII, episode 12, and if you don't know about it, well, Organized Play has promos, and Full Art Promo Yuna from Opus I is going to be the promo that you get in February. So hopefully your stores are up to date on the promos, because this card is just beautiful. I mean, look at it. This was tweeted by Toru Kageyama, producer of the game, and it looks amazing. I can't wait to get my hands on one of them. All right, next up, we had some spoilers. So card of the week, as we're ramping up towards Opus 8 on, what was it? The release date is, I believe, March 22nd. So pre-release would be about a week before on the Saturday. And the card of the week is Cloud. So this one is another starter card. Last week was Lise, and she was a starter card for the Final Fantasy XIV Silence of the Seventh Dawn deck that will be coming out for with Opus VII during the pre-release. Actually, you'll be able to buy it a week before release. And Cloud is the counterpart, I guess you could say, in terms of pre-constructed decks that you could buy, so starter decks. And Cloud would be one of the cards. It looks very interesting. This time he's Earth, so we've seen him as a light card, as a fire card, and this time he is an Earth card. Keep in mind he's a soldier. There's interactions with the Opus 4 Jessie that is legal in constructed, but not legal in title, because she would give Cloud, like all the copies of Soldier Cloud, just too much reduction and make things a little bit too different. Looks interesting. It's definitely on curve, 3-drop, 7,000 power with some cool effects. But we'll see if it becomes a meta staple. More spoilers. So this one is going to be actually from it's coming from advertisement poster for Final Fantasy Trading Card Game that will be around, well, throughout the world. Actually, I think we got the initial spoiler from Japan on this poster, and this one will eventually come off hot off the presses, according to Richie Brady, the merchandise coordinator for North America, as well as community manager. And well, it got a little cropped off, but these cards are actually 4 CP each on top. And oh wow, and Echo, I believe, is 5,000 power. March is 7,000. No, wait, is it 8,000 power? And they look good. I love the art. Also, more Final Fantasy 15 over here. So it's going to be a good time. It's going to be interesting. Keep in mind that another interesting part is that Laswell is going to be an ice card that has some fire abilities. So a little bit more of that, I guess you could say, a multi-element feel to certain cards that we got in Opus VII, where some cards got a bonus if you paid for them with a CP of a different element. And I mean, I'm excited for Opus 8. It looks great. There's some, I mean, the art's amazing. I can't wait to collect it. Gotta get them foils. All right, some other spoilers that we got. So these are actually from a Japanese magazine, and there might be some new, I guess you could say, guidelines and rules to spoilers when we get around to Opus 9. But for now, Square Enix has requested that people don't share the pictures that are in magazines. So some of the spoilers that actually featured in other media that's not straight from Square Enix or from well, their advertisements they would actually prefer to, at least for now, not share the pictures. So we can discuss the text, because that's going to be out in the wild. And one of them is going to be Ninja. That's going to be a 3 CP 5,000 power forward. That's well, I guess it's water. Water, dull, and put Ninja into the break zone. Choose one forward your opponent controls. Activate it and gain control of it until the end of the turn. Okay. Next up, we've got Archangel MR from Final Fantasy XI. That's a 2 CP 3,000 power forward. Archangel MR cannot be blocked by fours with 7,000 power or more, and has an ability where you can use 2 win CP, and then until the end of the turn, Archangel MR cannot be targeted by your opponent's summons or abilities. Next up, we've got Rude. That's from Final Fantasy VII. That's his 2 CP backup. Dole, choose one card named Rufus or Job Turks you control until end of turn. It gains plus 1,000 power. and a special for triple lightning and 4 of any element and dull it. Deal 8,000 damage to all active forwards. You can only use this ability if you control card name Reno. By the way, if you haven't noticed, this is from Ban's Final Fantasy Corner. So all these text spoilers are from Ban. So thank you very much, Ban. Alright, next up we've got Xenos from Final Fantasy 14. 4 CP, 8,000 power forward. If your opponent controls a forward job Warrior of Light, Xenos gains plus 2,000 power, haste, and brave. When Xenos deals damage to your opponent, choose a forward your opponent controls, deal it 5,000 damage. I believe his job's also, what was it, Warrior of Darkness here. Next up we've got Palom from Dissidia Final Fantasy 4. 2 CP, 5,000 power forward. When Palom enters the field, choose one of the following. All players discard 1 card. Choose 1 forward, freeze it. Dull all backups your opponent controls. So that all player discards 1 card is a bit reminiscent of Thaumaturge, but a little bit more fair in terms of it happens to both players. So it's not as, I guess you could say, crippling. It takes a little bit more setup. I mean, obviously, if you play him as the last card in your hand, then you won't have to discard anything. And also, it is not a multi-card character, so you cannot have more than one of them on the field at the same time. But it'd be interesting since Palom also could be used for specials if you mix it with other elements where Palom, well, I think the only element Palom is from is fire at the moment. And last but not least, for the Final Fantasy, the Opus VIII spoilers, we've got Nacht from, I think that's how you say the name, from Final Fantasy Legends. 4 CP, 8,000 power, job Warrior of Darkness. Maybe I was wrong about the other one, but either way. If you control another job Warrior of Darkness other than Nacht, Nacht gets plus 1,000 power and Brave. X and X. So this is the first time I've seen, well, actually no, it's not the first time I've seen X, because Tama from Opus I actually had that cost, but this one is double X, so it gets pretty pricey. Choose a forward or a monster. If it costs X, break it. You can only use this ability during your turn once per turn. And for special, use discard a copy of itself and 2 Earth CP. Choose 1 forward, deal it 8,000 damage. So that's going to be interesting. I don't know how much this is going to really shake things up. At the cost of double X, it would actually, well, if you want to break a 2 CP forward or monster, it's going to take 4 CP to do it. If you want to break like a Cactuar, it's going to take at least, well, 2 overall. But if you want to break something like a 4 CP forward or 3 CP forward, it is going to cost you a lot. I mean, 6 isn't the worst, because if you count Odin, for example, right? Like that's 1 card, that's 2 CP. That's 4 CP for the cost of the Opus I Odin, that's not EX. And then you could break a 3 CP forward or monster. But if you want to break a 4 CP forward or monster, is going to take you 8, and that makes it like a 6 CP Odin, which is quite expensive. Alright, and a special treat also, one of the distributors gave out some of the details regarding Opus 9. And Opus 9 is going to be called Lords and Chaos, and there's a little bit more about it that's going to be interesting. A lot of people are actually very excited for Opus 9. I mean, we're not even on Opus 8 yet, but Opus 9 is actually shaping up to be quite a doozy, you could say. So it's gonna have a name, Lords and Chaos. It's gonna be featuring Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2, Grimoire of the Rift, Final Fantasy 12, Mobius Final Fantasy, which has amazing art so far, Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, Echoes of Time, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Oh wait, that's 2 different artists for Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, Echoes of Time, and another artist for Mobius Final Fantasy. Okay, so the really cool thing about it though, well, there's going to be a buy a box promo that features a Final Fantasy 14 character, Nail Van Darnus, and also for the first time there will be 16 full art cards, so collectors can enjoy the entire art piece. So that is a big deal. 16 full art cards. People have been just in love with the full art cards, and I mean, I don't see that going away anytime soon. Full art foils are going to be a big deal. Opus 9, I'm looking forward to it. Opus 8, I'm looking forward to it as well. There's a lot of things on the upswing for Final Fantasy, and as a collector, yeah, I'm very excited. As a player, I just love to see the high competitive play that's coming up, that I've seen a lot of people just really getting to the game and bringing it to another level. Also, a little bit more details if you want to keep up with it. There's going to be 48 commons, 36 rares, 26 heroes, 14 legends, and altogether 140 cards in that set. Let's go over some of the tournament results. Jersey Tidewater VA Weekly was won by Vincent Shannon with Thrice Zoo Pew, which is a bit of a play on words because he uses Zoo, the monster. And there's a lot of activating of backups with Sarah as well as Moogle, so it looks really interesting, really fun. Hopefully you take it out for a spin and have a good time. At the Chill SBT tournament, Go Wings won, piloted by Joshua Lee. Let's take a quick look. So it's a Windwater list, something that we're pretty familiar with, but there is Terra here, so that's pretty interesting. Next up, we've got the Alcalca X Bursters Weekly, Thursday number 3 in 2019. And that was won by Mono Ice, piloted by Rafael Ruiz. Wow, that name, I keep reading that name. I swear he's a pretty good player. Okay, Mono Ice with Yuri, so Yuri on Ice. Next up at the Winner Play Arts Tournament, Emmanuel Padilla played Ice Earth, and that was Flan Control. And by Flan Control, there are a decent amount of Flans. So Ice Flan getting you some Earth Flan to be able to discard or use as needed. There's definitely a lot of CP generation being done that way. Next up, we have the Titan Cup Grand Tournament in Indonesia, where Martin Setiawan won with a Yuripa Wind Water deck. Just to take a quick look, there's no Yuri. It's Emperor and Pain, so I'm guessing PA stands for Pain, but there is no Yuri here, so that's pretty interesting. Oh, maybe oh Yuna Riku Pain, Yuripa. I get it. I thought it was Yuri as in because it's Wind Water Yuri, but no, it's Yuri Riku Pain. All right, next up. Wait, did I just read that? Titan Cup Grand Tournament Indonesia. Okay, Titan Grand Cup Indonesia top 8. Oh, this looks like a 2-deck tournament where David Daniharja won with Mono Wind as well as Ice Water. So that's an interesting combination. Let's take a look at the Mono Wind deck. So that's fairly standard. Mono Wind with Yuri, Vada, Shalinka, something we've seen at Worlds, but he also added the Layax here. And his other deck, wow, I'm loading pretty slow today. I thought it'd be a little bit better than that. All right, Blinkfest. So I'm gonna guess there is, yep, Renoa over here with Sin. Well, actually, it's probably Renoa with mostly Cloud of Darkness and Sephiroth doing a lot of work, as well as Sid Reigns, and it's an interesting take on Water Ice. Next up at the Alcalca X Bursters Weekly on Saturday, number 3 2019 European leaderboard, Manuel Orance won with Mono Wind and Mono Water. So let's take a look at the Mono Wind. Another pretty standard way to do it, except that he actually runs Condor, a card that we haven't seen much of lately. So that's definitely a different take on it, as well as putting in a Kanisena package with a Rusena and Rayosena. And the other deck that he used was Mono Water. And wow, Yuri, yeah, a Yuri based Mono Water deck. Next up at the Epic Petite Cup in Portland, Oregon, Cold Turkey piloted by Ray Chow. That's an Icewind deck, a bit reminiscent to some extent of the Icewind deck, aggressive Icewind deck that had Chocobos that Joe Lazinski took to win the 2017 World North American Championship. But this one is, I guess you could say, a different take on it, as now we have backup Snow with Opus VII. So there's still the Chocobos over here, as well as the addition of Fat Chocobo to smooth things out. Next up at the Meta Potion Circuit number 1, Kyle McGinty won with Earthwind Layuk, and that's because it is, well, I guess you could say the Urianger Mill deck that people are familiar with. So it's got the Phoenixes, it's got Urianger, it's got the Layax, Cactuar, Datalumas, as well as, well, Mughal, Semilafina. Where was the other one? Wow, so there's no mill in this one actually. So that's pretty interesting, but wow, I didn't notice that. Cool though, it looks really interesting. Congratulations to Kyle, great guy, great competitor. Next up at the Zodiac Trials Aquarius Cup, Tracy Cordy won with Ice Earth. It looks like Ice Earth is getting a little more popular nowadays. So this deck has a whole like, well, I mean, it's an interesting enough deck with Psychoman Enforcer, Hecaton Kiers, no Vanille, but a Delita from Opus 3. Wow, different take on things. Interesting. At the Chocobo Square Tournament, Luca Riboldi won with Water Lightning, Agrius 2 deck. And as expected to some extent, when you say Agrius, you probably have Ovelia as well. But this is a bit of a Water Lightning deck with Ramza, Cloud of Darkness, Layla Vikings. That reminds me a bit of the deck that Taylor Stanky actually took to the Last Chance qualifier, the Dark Crystal Cup, as well as a North America Championship. And this player actually added in even a bit of fun with Freya and Kane. Next up at the Jupiter Central Weekly, Sunday number 2, 2019, Yvonne Garcia won with Una de Cinco No Es Tan Buena. So a Water Wind deck that is a bit reminiscent of the one that Robert Phillips piloted to at the Winter Cup Wales and won with. And I think he might have gone to the Grand Open in Bologna and won with it as well, which was actually quite impressive. Congratulations, Robert Phillips. MIA Monday Night Locals. So David Melendez won with Ice Water for the Linque. I think I'm reading that correctly. I can't guarantee that though. All right, and it's got Nidhogg, it's got Zodiark. That's pretty interesting, but the deck is a bit of a, what was it, Layla Vikings Ice Water deck. Next up, we had the NG Glorieta Weekly, where AJ Amadora won with Moist Mono Wind, which is really just water wind. And as you can see the trend, a deck a bit similar to the one that Robert Phillips piloted. And at the Alcaca X versus Weekly, Thursday, number 4, 2019, European leaderboard, we've got Juancho Huerta, who won with Earth Fire, Guerreros de la Luz. By the way, my Spanish is horrible. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the language. And that is a Warriors of Light deck. We've got Aegis, Sol, Lunith, and Ingus and Kryl, and Wall. So, and Warrior of Light. Yeah, there's a lot of Warriors of Lights here. So, looks like a good time. So let's discuss some of the upcoming events. Well, locally, at least in Northern California, the Zodiac Braves finished up their side quest in Cydia at Isle of Gamers on January 26th. And the next event will be on February 23rd, trial number 4, Mateus at Anime Imports. And I think it's Pacifica. Okay, we also have the Final Fantasy Monthly Constructed on February 2nd at 10 a.m. the Uncommons. So that's actually the store that will be hosting a Petite Cup in the near future. I'll be discussing that in just a bit. So on Saturday, they will be hosting a constructed tournament. The Keyblade Cup, that's being hosted by Game Theory over in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's a winner box, but also I think let's see, where was it? Wow, they didn't mention it. I think you win like a Keyblade replica. So Hunter Nance, one of the representative for North America, he actually publicized this event, and it looks like it's going to be a good time. Obviously, the art from what was it, Kingdom Hearts number 3 that just came out, that it was just released, and well, all right here. In addition to the where is it? Update: the winner will also get the attached Keyblade replica from PDP. I'm not sure what PDP is, but either way, there's gonna be some good stuff, such as Kingdom Hearts prints that are coming in the mail. Okay. Also, the Arizona Petite Kupo Cup that's being held by Desert Sky Games, Chandler, Arizona, is going to be happening this weekend on Saturday at 10 a.m. And the Final Fantasy TCG Title Series Part 2 is going to happen at Galactic Quest in Bufford, Georgia on Saturday. To keep up with some of the Petite Cups, we've already finished up with the reunion in Florida at the Florida Petite Cup, the Oregon Petite Cup at Epic Gaming. Arizona is going to happen this weekend, and next weekend we'll have the Fan Fair, followed by the New York Petite Cup on February 16, Toronto Petite Cup on February 17, Virginia Petite Cup on February 23rd, and the Kansas Petite Cup and Petite Cup Circuit Finals on March 9th and 10th. To go into a little bit more details regarding the fanfares, is a bit of an update. So instead of Wolf's Den, they're going to have something that's a little bit different called random battles, where, let's see, rather than needing to hold a seed to earn achievements will be able to be earned at any time, so long as both players are participating in a random battle match. Keep in mind, you will be paired up for random battles and cannot simply play against the same opponent over and over. Think of it like a wolf's den that can keep growing as long as there is somewhere to play. And to help a bit with planning your decks for random battles, Richie Brady wanted to share some of the more specific achievements, such as most party attacks with Yuri and Shalinka, most Vikings broken in a single game, most category World of Final Fantasy cards played, as well as most cards removed from the game. So regarding the Petite Cup on February 16th, that's being held by the Uncommons, well, here it is, all the info. And last but not least, got the RVA. Oh, that got cut off a little bit. That art's beautiful. Let's see if there you go. RVA Petite Cup at the Battlegrounds in Midlothian, Virginia on February 23rd. And they're gonna have some really cool pricing, if I remember correctly, like a PS4 and some other stuff. It's gonna be streamed by our friends, the RVA returners. So I guess that's their Twitch right here, RVA Chronos. And let's see if I can look at the pricing that they're gonna have available. First place will receive a slim PS4 with Final Fantasy 15, full art Chinese-ish Tola. I think that was donated by James Lockwood from that hosted the Reunion Petite Cup in Florida, as well as the owner of Cards of Ivalice, and a box of Opus VII in addition to the pricing provided by Square. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's more to be had from Square Enix as they provide extra pricing to these Petite Cups. So hopefully you're all up to date on what's going on. The game seems to be growing. I'm seeing like just events being posted. The spoilers are exciting. Even more events that are happening in the near future. Things are definitely shaping up, are going to be very exciting for what coming up to, like, well, the whole spoiler season. We've got Opus VIII looking very exciting. and Opus IX coming out with what, 16 full art cards. This is a very good time to be in this game. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I do. Hopefully you like what we do. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, feel free to put them in the comments. Otherwise, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, MagicTechGames.com, that sells singles for Final Fantasy trading card game, as well as Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic, and some of the stuff they gave to us to give out, so that when we reach 800, 900, or 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel for the Break Zone, we'll pick one of the subscribers at random, and they'll get to choose between one of the following prizes, such as, well, some of them not worth as much as the others, but you know, I mean, at the time they were worth more. Like the Dominaria Mox Amber used to be worth more, but now I think it's maybe like 15 or something like that. On the other hand, Horizon Canopy from Iconic Master is still worth about what, 50-60 bucks, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Cactuar Sleeves protect your really cool cards. So that's a pack of 60. Lightning Plushie from Final Fantasy 13. Or a Opus 3 Shiva deck box from the Toronto Crystal Cup in 2018. That was autographed by Toru Kageyama, producer of the game. And on top of all of that, we'll be throwing in some of the cool pins that we got for the Break Zone. One that is colored, and one that is just gold. They're both made out of metal, real solid, real cool. They're available on the MagicTechGames.com website. Otherwise, well, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll catch you all next time.